Mm. Okay. Start three. Oh, okay. All right. Cool. Get the show started, guys.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com.
Cutting on mics now, guys. Please stand by. Drew, you're hot.
Welcome into First Pitch for Monday, September 20th. I am Drew Martin, joined by Tony Finn and Bryan Leonard of WagerTalk.com. Guys, we're talking 4 games on the slate for tonight's MLB. We got best bets at the end. Welcome in on the Wager Talk YouTube channel to the chat box. Feel free to chime in below. Tony Finn, first one up here. Tony, we did a show last week. It was fun, just me and you. We asked the people, a nickname for you instead of Tony Slick Finn. I think we have a winner here. Want to shout out Anthony Turbelli. Tony, just win, baby Finn. Welcome into the show, Tony. What do you think of the nickname?
I guess if I was related to Al Davis, I think it's a winner. No, you know what? Be careful what you ask for in life. You ask for a different nickname. You ask for a different girlfriend, different wife. Be careful what you ask for. Right? I like it. Let's go with it. Keep them coming. When someone strikes at the perfect nickname, we'll send them a $5 Wager Talk gift card.
All right. And next one up, Bryan Leonard. Bryan, happy Monday morning to you. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you. Good to be back, and apologize for anybody who expected me on the Wager Talk today. Miscommunication, all my fault, and hopefully I can get you some winners on this show.
Here we go. Well, let's find one in the first game up. Bottom of the barrel in terms of the NL East here. Last place teams, Washington Nationals, Miami Marlins going at it to start us off here, Bryan. We get Fetty versus Luzardo, the lefty going for the fish. Total of 8. Pretty much a pick-em price here. Washington minus 105, minus 107 at some shops. You liking anything in South Florida tonight, Bryan?
Yeah, this is one of the things that makes baseball so interesting. You have different pitchers, and they perform well against certain teams, and other pitchers struggle against certain teams. Eric Fetty, we can all admit, has been a journeyman pitcher in his young career. But look what he has done against the Miami Marlins. In 5 starts going all the way back to 2019, his game scores, and keep in mind, league average is 50. His game scores against Miami, 60, 74, 65, 66, and 65. The last 3 have been this season. His ERA in 5 games against Miami, 0.64. And this is a guy whose ERA is the last 3 seasons, 5.16, 4.29, 4.50. What do we gain out of looking at what Eric Fetty has done against Miami? Is that something that he just happens to match up well with this team, or is he getting extremely lucky? I gotta think the former, because he's been so much better against Miami than he has against anybody else in baseball. It's just got to be something where he feels very confident pitching in this ballpark and pitching against this team. And he goes up against Jesus Luzardo, who's a guy who has a much better talent than Eric Fetty, but he hasn't put it together yet. He has a couple of good starts since coming over to Miami. He had a 77-game score against Cincinnati. Pitched very well. 6 shutout innings against them. And then he played against the Mets also in this ballpark and pitched pretty well with a 61-game score. But overall, he has struggled all season long, and he's faced Washington twice this year. His game scores are 26 and 32, 9-run ERA. Based on everything we see, the line's not telling you that, but I think Washington here has some value, and I'm looking at the Washington side here, and it's basically just based on how these two pitchers have faced against these teams. Will it continue? We'll find out in a few hours.
I like it, Brian. Good start here to the first game, Tony. And, Brian brings up a good point in terms of, past performance against the pitcher you're going to be facing. I think there's something to that. I always like to look at that, Tony, in terms of lineups not seeing a guy well, and I think that tends to continue. The only reason I didn't bet Washington here, they're away record 26 and 45 on the road, whereas the Fish pretty good down there in Lone Depot Park, 39 and 36. But to Brian's point, that is a strong trend looking towards the Nationals. What are you thinking tonight in South Florida?
To your point, more for me, I don't look at pitchers against teams as much as I look at pitchers against lineups or potential lineups. Sometimes that lineup has a short list. Sometimes it has a long list. For these two guys, they don't really, in past performances, and most of them are recent, especially for Fetty. And Brian mentioned his game scores. Look, Fetty has had a big uptick in strikeouts, and twice those have been against this Fish lineup. I think he struck out at least 6 in his last 5 outings, and 8 against Miami the last time out. He's been really good against them, and for the most part, if you look at his pitch usage, and I do look at pitch uses, what Fetty's done recently is he's not abandoned completely, but he's dropped the sinker usage. Dropped it around 35 to 40% when all season long he's been about 50%. And it makes sense if you're pitching in Marlins Park or, down in South Florida, because this is a pitcher-friendly park. Luzardo has struggled. He's struggled. Listen, he's been injured. His fastball usage has been increased by almost 11 or 12% from last year. The same with his curveball, making it about 55 or 60% total usage between fastball, curveball. Now, many have said, well, that's because of the venue he's now pitching at. That's just not necessarily true. The venue between, at least the venues and park value or park ratings between the Coliseum and the Fish are fairly equal. They're both pitcher-friendly park. This is a situation where Luzardo's just not trusting himself, being injured this year, being traded, a lot of changes for him. But surprisingly, guys, if you're looking at the numbers on this, at most shops, this game opened up, even the overnights, with Washington and Fetty being about a $1.15 favorite. Now you're seeing Luzardo as a small favorite, which surprises me. Just to say, it just really surprised me. I'm with you, Brian, completely. You as well, Drew. I like Washington here if I was in this game.
Okay, good stuff starting off here, guys, in the NL East game. Let's head to the NL Central here with a good one, a sleeper good one here, Tony. We get the St. Louis Cardinals at the Milwaukee Brewers, and we're seeing the Brewers heavy favorites here, minus 200. Peralta's been good. He's going up against Woodford here. Total of 8. These two teams are hot. Brewers 7-3 their last 10. Cards, hottest team in baseball, winning 8 straight. What are you liking in Milwaukee tonight, Tony?
Well, you look at pitcher ratings, and I do some. I wander at times on the weekends, on Sunday nights on the internet and find out who's, which pundits or what reliable portals are rating these pitchers coming into Monday. You'll find Woodford as being near the bottom, truthfully, as a young pitcher. Obviously, St. Louis came up during the year. Peralta, some guys have Peralta as the GOAT, the greatest of all time after the last couple seasons, or especially this season. However, he's a big favorite. Milwaukee's a big favorite. They're a big favorite. And in truth, guys, they're going to win this division running away, as we know. And for quite some time, they were playing hard because they still had the opportunity to have the best record in the National League. That's really disappeared. If you look at their records right now, while Milwaukee could still have the best record in the National League, it would take a meltdown pretty much by either San Fran or by LA. So how serious is Milwaukee going to take this last 2 weeks of baseball? That plays into this one right here because Peralta's been fantastic. I mean, look at his last start. It's a gem. 2 hits, 6 innings, 9 strikeouts. But the Cardinals against Peralta are slashing 307, 449, 469 with an OPS of 918. Milwaukee's had one look at Woodford, slashing 074, 444, 074 slugging, 519 OPS. This price really isn't just – it's difficult to back Peralta as good as he's been this year, as good as Milwaukee has been overall, and against a Woodford. But all the numbers, all the motivation point to playing St. Louis here as a big dog.
And Brian, coming to you next, it's arguably the game of the night here. 2 hot teams. What are you liking in Milwaukee?
Yeah, I think Tony makes a lot of sense here. Obviously, the pitching matchup favors Milwaukee, and the line is showing you that. Freddie Peralta, Milwaukee's coaching staff and management came out earlier and said they were going to start limiting innings for their starters, and we could see that out of Freddie Peralta. Sure, he went 6 innings last time out against Detroit, but he threw 71 pitches. There's not too many times in Major League Baseball you can go 6 innings in a baseball game, throw 71 pitches. He didn't walk anybody. He only gave up 2 hits. He was really on in that game. So he made it through 6 innings. But the 2 before that, in fact, the last 3 games before that, 3.2 against Philadelphia, 2 against St. Louis, 2 against St. Louis. And in those 2 St. Louis games, his game scores were 36 and 36. So he did not pitch very well against this Cardinals team. And he's still going to be on another pitch limit here. So you don't know how long you're going to get him. What I liked what Tony talked about was Milwaukee's urgency to win these games. Keep in mind, Milwaukee, the last 3 teams they have played, Cleveland, Detroit, and the Cubs, 3 teams long out of the playoff chase. St. Louis has been winning, as you pointed out, 8 straight games, 9 in the last 10. They're playing Cincinnati, fighting for the wild card. They played the Mets, a team still in the wild card chase, and San Diego, a team that doesn't seem to want to be in the wild card chase. But these are teams that still have something to play for. Milwaukee's been facing teams that don't. It's hard for me to ignore St. Louis in this situation, in this price range, as well as they're playing, when they've played teams that are fighting for the playoffs just like them. So I think there's value here on the underdog. I like St. Louis. I think the line's a little bit overpriced.
Good stuff from both Tony and Brian. Guys, it's $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All plays discounted to just $9. Feel free to join us here in the chat box on the Wager Talk YouTube. We got Joe saying Cardinals are almost a blind bet right now. And Buck saying plus 180 on the Cards. I'll be sprinkling. Guys, we're visiting this game in best bets. We got 2 games before that. Next game up, heading to the AL East. We get the Toronto Blue Jays and the Tampa Bay Rays. We're seeing Robbie Ray versus Boz going for the Rays here. 7.5, minus 130. That's what we're seeing. The Blue Jays as the road favorite here, Tony.
Makes sense. I mean, Boz gets his debut. I mean, it's almost, in truth, if you trust history and first-time starters in Major League Baseball, regardless of their status or maybe of their prospect status, in this situation, Baz is right now the number 1 Tampa Bay prospect, and for good reason, albeit 22, I think he is, guys. I believe that's the case. He's, it's a first-time starter that has really good AAA numbers. I'm surprised a little bit that maybe he's been pitching at AAA as opposed to AA, but then we're still kind of in that COVID situation where it's hard to trust where they've been on the farm, because last year it was just basically, a one league, call it a D league, if you will. Robbie Ray, surprisingly, his fastball this year has been really, really good. It's a full mile an hour faster than it was last season, despite the fact that he's lost a couple hundred revolutions, is basically on his spin rate. So, and that has to do with tack. But he's throwing his fastball almost 10% more, 60% than he did last. 60% this year, 49 last year. And to his probably to a negative point, Robbie Ray has his platoon splits he's much better against left-handed hitters. Opposite hitters hit a little better on him. He's not one of these reverse platoon guys. But another thing to take in consideration was that Baz, the 20-year-old, like I said, he was originally scheduled to make his start Friday. He was scratched due to back spasms and pushed back. So 1.76 ERA, guys, 0.85 WHIP, a 64-11 K to walk ratio over 46 innings at AAA after opening the season at AA. So again, my question, I didn't investigate why he went to AAA as opposed to AA, because historically AA is really where the prospects are. It's really the guys that are more hungry. AAA is more of a resting spot for guys who are, rehabbing per se. Rays are 47-28 at the Trop. Hitters not great here, and this is my best bet. And all this I've outlined for you, we're going to save for the end of the show, and I'll tell you why I've said what I've said and where I'm going to go with the play on this Toronto at the Trop versus Tampa Bay tonight.
I like it. And shout out to the graphics team there. We're learning all about Baz. Is the young starter, former 12th round pick or 12th pick overall here, Brian, looks to be pretty good. What are you thinking tonight in the Trop?
Yeah, Shane Baz is a stud. I've been waiting for this guy to come up to the majors. Tampa Bay's got so many good pitchers. They kept him down, probably brought him up to AAA just to go up against some more experienced bats. I think that's probably why they brought him up there. But yeah, I'm really excited about Shane Baz here. And so is a lot of other people, because you're getting a reasonable number here. If you're looking to play Toronto, the way Robbie Ray's been pitching this year, it's a decent number to be playing on Toronto, but I won't be, because Robbie Ray just faced Tampa Bay just on the 15th, just 5 days ago. And he did really well. 78 game score, 7 innings, 1 earned run, 13-0 strikeout to walk ratio against a Tampa Bay team that's a really good team. So Tampa Bay, with the coaching staff they have and the players they have, seeing Robbie Ray for the second time in a week, I think is a big advantage here against Tampa Bay. That said, I don't make it a habit of betting on starters in baseball making their major league debut. So I'm not going to be playing this game, but I could see two different things for the total. I could see if both pitchers pitch to their ability, I could see this game going under. If Baz has jitters in his first major league start and Robbie Ray has to face these same hitters for the second time in a week, I can see this game go over. So it's going to be a great game to watch, but I'm not going to get involved here from a betting standpoint. I think there's other games that have more of an advantage for us from a betting standpoint, but can't wait to watch this one.
Yeah, this will be a fun one to watch, as Monday Night Football is going on, kind of have this on as well. Brian, if you have multi-TVs, I actually have a handicapping question for you, Brian, because you bring up the fact of, not making a habit of betting on or against pitchers that are making their MLB debut. Something I've noticed is it can be volatile. At times they can be very good, 6-7 innings and shutting down the opposing lineup. But at other times, you're right, they could come out there and struggle. Is there kind of something you look for that has kept you off in the past, or just in your history of betting MLB here, what's keeping you off of doing that?
Well, in the past, they didn't bring these kids up as early as they do now. They want to get the best out of them. And we've seen this year, Manoah's been really good for Toronto.
Right.
He's been good all along. McKenzie last year, they brought him up. He was good pretty much the entire time he was up. Came into some struggles with his control this year. But you will find, I guess it's the temperament of the players. I don't know. I don't know the players personally, so I could just go by what I read. And we've seen, like out of Kansas City this year, everybody they seem to bring up, other than Hernandez, who pitched a little bit last year, all the guys have getting bombed. The singers, the so many Coar and some of the other guys for Kansas City had gotten hit really bad the first time up, and we see this a lot of times. So, it's nice to see a new face on the mound. You'd like to be able to watch them, but until I see how they do against Major League pitching, I usually try to find another game to bet on. That's basically what I look for.
No, fair enough there, Brian. And guys, check out Bryan Leonard at WagerTalk.com. It is $9 Monday. All plays discounted to just $9. One game left, guys. We got best bets at the end. Feel free to chime in here in the chat box what you're looking to bet. We got some recommendations on Tony's nickname as well. We'll read those out before we get to best bet. Seattle Mariners, Oakland A's in the nightcap for the show. Nightcap for the card here. 9:40 Eastern. First pitch, Brian. We're seeing Anderson and Manaea, Sean Manaea there, two lefties going at it. We're seeing the line minus 150 here. The A's as the home favorite. Total of 8.5 here, Brian.
I'm kind of leaning with Seattle here. Big game for both teams, obviously, still in the playoff race. 2-game lead for Oakland in the wild card standings here. Sean Manaea's had a lot of success against Seattle. Last 5, 1.85 ERA, 66 average game score, but he's had a volatile second half of the season. You just take a look at his game scores, his last 7. We've seen lows of like 29, 32, 34, 31, highs of 68, 71. When he's good, Manaea's really good, but he has not been consistent at all in the second half of the season. And that's a concern where you're laying the number like this against a team fighting for the playoffs. Seattle brings in Tyler Anderson. He faced Oakland a year ago on this exact same date. And he threw 5 2/3 innings, a shutout ball, 58 game score. That was when he pitched in the National League. But now in the American League, I think there's a little bit of value here on Seattle. Oakland's a team that has the far better talent here, at least veteran talent. But I just don't trust Manaea. And if you're getting a guy who can either be really good or really bad, and you're laying a big number, like we're seeing out of Oakland here, Seattle to me is a pretty good bet. And I prefer the Seattle side here. A lot of money came in on Oakland, and I think there's going to be some buyback on that. So looking to buy Seattle right now.
All right, and Tony, coming to you next. We see the wild card standings here in the American League. They're getting tight. Both of these two teams in it. We got a good one in the Coliseum tonight. A's have won 5 straight. What are you thinking tonight?
Well, in many ways, I agree with Brian. Listen, the Oakland pitching staff, I think, is always overvalued, and they get a good rep because they pitch in one of the most crazy, vast, foul territory venues in baseball. And Manaea, in this situation, Brian's accurate as could be. Manea's either good or he's bad. And I would trust him to be better at the Coliseum than I would away from the Coliseum. In this situation, Tyler Anderson, he was on the bereavement, the BL list. He came back in his last start and was so-so, didn't even go 5 innings. But I think he threw 90 pitches, 4.1 against Boston, which was a result of a loss for the M's. And it was probably the bereavement list coming back from that, having, I think, 1 extra day of rest on that was all it was. But command's a pretty big deal for Tyler Anderson, a really big deal because he's not going to blow anybody away. Anderson's history versus the A's, pretty pedestrian. Again, not a big history because, as Brian mentioned, he's pitched a lot in the National League. 250 batting average against, 744 OPS. Middle of the road. The A's first inning arm tonight, again, we've mentioned him, Manaea, has had his way really with the Mariners in his career. Brian mentioned that as well. Been pretty successful. In his last start versus Seattle this year, he went 7 innings, struck out 13 Mariners. His first start against the Mariners this year, complete game, 4-hit, scoreless victory. The M's current lineup slashing against Manaea, 137, 272, 237 with an OPS of 509. There probably might be some value on Seattle because it's going to be a hard-fought game. However, I'm either going to be on Oakland in this game, Manaea, or I'm not going to be on the game. I'm not in the gambling game because I'm not laying 180.
Yeah, it's a hefty price on the team that's won 5 straight at home, but a good nightcap either way you look at it. Bryan Leonard, Tony Finn, I am Drew Martin. Guys, this is his first pitch every day, Monday through Friday on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Come and join us. Feel free to chime in the chat box. We got best bets coming right now. And also feel free to chime in on the Wager Talk YouTube channel below in the comments section if you can't catch us live. Tony, time for best bets, and also want to update you here on what's going on in the chat box and nickname suggestions. We got Sir Tony Fresh Finn from Todd Reeves.
I like that.
And we also got Johnny Outlaw saying Tijuana Tony. So which one's it going to be, Tony, and what's your best bet tonight?
Well, let's I tell you what, we'll pick a couple, 3 nicknames, and depending on my mood or my posture or my, how I did yesterday, we can, oil slick Tony Finn could be one of those after a bad day. Tony could be if I look hungover, and Sir could be if I was really good. So far so good. We'll keep this narrative going for a while.
All right.
And the grand prize of $5 wager bucks, is a big deal. So stay tuned. You want to go to the best bet? Shall I dive in?
Yeah, lead us off here, Tony. We're going for best bets tonight.
And I outlined a little bit about Robbie Ray and about Baz and his debut. And this Baz, as Brian is excited about seeing Baz, anybody who loves baseball should be excited about seeing a 22-year-old making his debut. He was drafted by Pittsburgh. And we all know, you should know, listen, if you're going to trust a couple of organizations, at least pitching, coaching staffs, Pittsburgh's not a bad place to be. It really isn't. Milwaukee's not a bad place to be. Tampa Bay sure as hell is a bad place to be. And his issues were as many have issues. Brian, he mentioned Cleveland's young staff. That's another place that's not a bad, a farm organization to be if you're a pitcher. Reliable, they have a good history with pitchers, building them and making the best they can be. Baz struggled, as most kids do, with his command. They really worked with his command, and he went from having a 4 per 9 to now about a 1. He's almost, in fact, elite. And you saw that with his AAA number, 68 to something. I mentioned it to you earlier. I'm going to the under here, mostly because of Ray's history. And Brian mentioned this too. The Rays coaching staff pretty smart, or they know how to adjust. They just saw him 5 days ago. However, Robbie has a 150. Listen, Tampa Bay's had 150 looks at Robbie Ray in his career, and this is what they're slashing after 150 looks against Robbie Ray. And I'm going to have to bring it up because I did have it by memory. Now I'm going to have to look at my notes. But how about this? 071, 211, 071 with an OPS of under 5.1. Pretty strong, considering this is not the lineup that has that you would imagine has seen Robbie Ray a lot, but they have. Being in the same division makes sense. 150 looks at it. For Baz, as long as he command his stuff, and it looks like that's what they were waiting for with Baz, is to have him be able to command his arsenal. I like the under 8. I think it's a good play. Even though the umpire is unknown at this point in time, we won't know for another probably 2 hours who it is. But at worst, as long as it's not one of the newbies, and it's a long-time vet behind the plate or gets the home plate assignment, I really like the under 8 in this game. I expect this maybe even to go to a 7.5.
Good stuff from Tony Finn. Tony Slick Finn. Tijuana Tony. Tony, just win, baby Finn. However we're feeling, guys. Thanks for all the comments here in the chat box. And feel free to throw some more below on the YouTube channel. Guys, for my best bet, I'm going to the game we broke down in the NL Central. St. Louis Cardinals, Milwaukee Brewers. We get Woodford versus Peralta. Look, the Brewers are minus 200 favorites, meaning you can find the St. Louis Cardinals here, the underdog, as high as plus 184. Risk 100 to win 184. Implied odds, what, at 35%? We only got to win this game 38% of the time to be profitable long term. And look, guys, we talked about it earlier. This is the hottest team in baseball, talking about the Cardinals, winning 8 straight games, the 3rd hottest lineup in baseball the last week by weighted runs created plus. And the fact that Peralta, a good pitcher overall, but one, he's on an innings limit. And it's not like he's going to, or at least hopefully not, he's going to go 8 innings and then hand it off to Josh Hader here. His last 2 starts against the Cardinals, he's winless, and he's only gone 4 innings, giving up 7 earned runs. So the Cardinals have seen him well. We're getting a big plus price here on the underdog. That's my best bet. St. Louis Cardinals plus the 182 price tag here, guys. Throw it over to Bryan Leonard. Bryan, finish us off for best bets.
I'll start off and I'll talk about Tony's nickname since he's got the bricks behind him. How about, are you ready for today's headliner? Direct from Wager Talk today and the First Pitch podcast, Tony Finn. It's $9 Monday, and I've got a 5% play up in football for Saturday. 27, 11, and 1 on our 5% plays. I also have a nice 4% play in baseball today. So you can get them both $9 each. That's my top baseball play for today. As for my best bet on the show, we talked about it. It's that Washington game earlier. I'll use Washington today as my best bet on this show. No need to expand on that. We talked plenty about that earlier. So, yeah, let's get some winners here, guys.
Absolutely, guys. In the recap for best bets, enjoy Monday Night Football, and hopefully these cash on the diamond. We got Cardinals plus 182. Bryan Leonard there. Bryan, the Truth Leonard. Nationals at the pick'em price. And Tony, Slick Finn. Tony, just win, baby Finn. Tijuana Tony, whatever we're going with here, guys. Feel free to chime in the comments below. Blue Jays Rays under 8 in the Trop tonight. Robbie Ray and Boz as the pitchers in that one. So for Tony Finn, Bryan Leonard, I am Drew Martin. Best of luck if you're tailing best bets, guys. Please smash that like button on your way out. We'll talk tomorrow, same time, same place. Best of luck with your bets until then.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in WagerBucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com.